guys, this is Comic Uno, episode 88, and this is a show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show, and this week I have 16 comics. I go worst pick of the week to best pick of the week, so let's get started. 16 is a good amount. Usually there's a lot. Next week is like 25 or something, so we'll go back to that big amount, but this is like a normal amount, 16. Alright, what was worst pick of the week? This has been worst pick of the week a lot, so there is no surprise here. Earth 2 World's End, issue 22. Another kind of just boring issue. I would say the one moment I did like from this issue was Dick Grayson seeing Huntress and Batman. It's like, oh, cool, you know, obviously because of the connection with Dick being Robin and Nightwing and being part of the Bat family in other series. I thought that was kind of a cool moment, but the art is kind of sloppy throughout the series. It changes a lot. Very inconsistent artwork. Coloring's good. I like the coloring, but nothing really happens here. Alright, Earth's ending. Cool. I mean, that's what's going on. Not even a lot of good character moments like we've seen in the past couple of issues. That's why it's been a bit higher. Higher as 2.5 stars. But yeah, still just not feeling it. But I'm sticking through it. Sticking through it. Alright, so Earth 2 World's End, issue 22 for me gets 2 stars. And that was number 16. Moving on to number 15. Oh, Earth 2 World's End. Guess what else came out this week? Which is also, one of them fell, okay. Which is also an Earth 2 book. Oh, Earth 2 issue 32. Why did I even get this book? I didn't get Earth 2 issue 31 last month because I was like, I'm kind of done with Earth 2. But then I realized, oh, I've been getting Earth 2 for all this time. And this issue was the last one. So I was like, alright, I'll get it. Let's see. Maybe it'll be okay. It's like the same thing you were getting from Earth 2 World's End, except this is like a little bit better because it felt like it was a bit more consistent. The artwork was a bit better. And also you get the background story of Kendra, Hawkgirl. So I thought that was kind of cool, but other than that, it's kind of a waste of time. This issue, nothing gets accomplished once again. Yeah, it's the same thing as the Earth 2 World's End. There's nothing much more to add. The Earth's ending. That's it. Or 2. Issue 32 gets 2 stars. Moving on to number 14, which is Zombies vs. Cheerleaders, St. Patty's Day Special, issue 1. This is a Zenescope book, so that's why I gave it a try. But I didn't love it. It was kind of over-sexualized, a lot of over-sexualized. I didn't really expect that. I expected someone else from Zenescope. I know, obviously, their covers are very over-sexualized, but usually the interior of the book is actually some female-driven stories there. And here it was just, it's bad. I just did not like it. It was, again, very over-sexualized. You didn't really get attached to any character. They're mostly short stories, and I didn't feel attached to any of the short stories. It felt a bit ridiculous. I do think they were parodizing themselves in this issue a bit, but I couldn't really connect to it. So I was a bit disappointed with Zenescope this week for that issue, and I gave that 2 stars, and that was number 14. Alright, moving on to number 13. Another book that is not surprising to be here. Future's End, issue 44. Yeah, Future's End is another series that you kind of know where it's going, but you just want to see the end. You want to see this train wreck end already. But yeah, I think Future's End's a bit better than World's End. Like, at least there's some things that you don't really know what's going on. But Earth 2 is just like, yep, World's ending. Let's just try to end this series now. Future's End, this is an okay issue, but I feel like there wasn't a lot of moments to really cheer for. It's the same thing over and over again. It's them in the dome, Superman trying to save the day, and the other heroes trying to save the day. Even there was a lot of messy art here too. I did not like the inconsistent art. Yeah, there wasn't much to root for this issue. It's a bit more consistent than the later or earlier Future's End books, where it's just like two pages this story, 2 pages that story. How they connect, I don't know. I still don't know how they connect, and we're almost done with this series. It's like they kind of came together in the end. And they also have this Brother Eye story that kind of, I don't know how that connects to this whole dome. I don't know. It just feels that this event hasn't really been thought through. Hopefully by the end of the issues we'll see it thought through, but right now a lot of things are not connecting. And not in a good way, not a mystery way. It's just like kind of in a sloppy way. It's not connecting. So Future's End issue 44 gets 2 stars. Moving on to we're up to number 12. Which is Wolf Moon issue 4. I like this issue a bit more than the last issue of Wolf Moon. I still feel that this should not have been a 6-issue miniseries, and that's why it's a bit lower here, because I think it's dragging out a bit. There is not a lot that happens here. You know, our main character tries to get the wolf again. It doesn't work. So now his girlfriend is like, alright, I'm going to help you out, because she's connected to the wolf somehow too. And I like the ending, at least some difference happening, but throughout the whole issue, it's kind of the same thing happening. And maybe there's another hunter that wants to kill the wolf, but for some reason our main character's like, no, we can't make him kill the wolf because he's killing other people around him. We gotta just kill the wolf. And then there's another villain. There's a lot of different elements going on, but also at the same time, this wolf story is not really progressing that much. So hopefully with the girlfriend in the mix, there'll be some interesting things going on. But at the moment, I gave this 3 stars. So it wasn't a bad issue. I enjoyed the artwork. It's still a good series, but I feel like it's way too many issues. It should have been maybe 3 or 4, honestly. Alright, moving on to number 11. That is Operation Sin, issue 3. This is another miniseries that I've been a bit disappointed with, because I loved issue 1. It was actually in my top 5. I thought it was a really enjoyable book. If you liked Agent Carter, it was very similar to Agent Carter. And with this issue, it kind of drags into this alien story that, you know, the best part to say this, what I liked about issue 1 is that it was about Peggy Carter. And now it's focusing so much on plot that you see Peggy Carter have some one-liners, but it's not focusing on Peggy. And I think that's the downfall of Operation Sin, because this is supposed to be Peggy's story. It's supposed to be Peggy's miniseries. It's not really her miniseries. But what I do like about the series is the artwork. I think the artwork fits very well for the series. Do like Peggy here. I just wish we saw a little bit more of Peggy. Because most of this issue is like finding this ship and, you know, stuff going on with Hydra. Superpowers. But, I think, honestly, I might drop Operation Sin. Maybe if it's a week like this where it's just, like, not a lot of books, I'll get Operation Sin, but I'm not getting the payoff that I wanted and was promised in issue 1. There's just not enough Peggy here, and I'm not interested in the plot. I'm more interested in these characters. So Operation Sin, issue 3 gets 3 stars for me. Alright, moving on to number 10, which is Hulk, issue 12. Yeah, so Hulk for me, it's a bit lower than usual, but that's mostly because I don't really have much of a background on the Gamma Corps, so this felt a bit fillerish to me, or a bit repetitive to say. Like the Deadpool ending, I love it, because I really do like Duggan's work on Deadpool, and like I said in my in-depth review, I don't think I would get the ongoing, just because I'm not a huge Deadpool fan. I'll probably get a little annoyed by reading Deadpool every month, but I like seeing him every once in a while, and I think Duggan does a good job with the character. But yeah, so the cliffhanger you saw coming though, because on the cover, you know, he's on the cover, so saw that. And then the Gamma, what it is, this issue is that Doc Green depowers the Gamma Corps. That's the whole issue pretty much. I do really like the opening though, where Iron Fist punches Doc Green. Doc Green's like, I kind of want you to teach me that. And he's like, that's kind of my thing. I do that, so I'll teach you some, like, meditating. And then Doc Green's like, okay, I'll do that. So I like that portion of the story. I thought it was a good opening, but everything else was a bit more repetitive. But the artwork was really good, and I think it's just because I'm not a big Gamma Corps fan. I didn't feel as attached to this issue. But yeah, Hulk issue 12 for me gets 3 stars. Alright, moving on to number 9, which is... One of them fell once again. Let me get that. Oh, yeah, I hate pieces of paper sometimes. Okay, moving on. Batman Eternal, issue 48. That is number 9. Yeah, I like this issue. I thought it was pretty good. Artwork fit pretty well. I think this is definitely the better artwork for the series than we've seen in the past. I think Batman Eternal is actually has a lot more promise than the other weekly series, Future's End and Earth 2. This definitely feels like it's going somewhere, had a plan. Of course, I don't think it should have been 50-something issues, but I do think this has a lot more promise and a lot more build-up than the other series. And a little less lazy. So with this issue, I liked it. We get to see some of the Bat Family. Gotham trying to decide if they want to release Commissioner Gordon or not. See if he was guilty or not, which I hope we get some payoff with the whole Barbara Gordon, Commissioner Gordon thing. Them talking it out. Would really like to see that towards the end. Crossing my fingers. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I like the issue. Spoiler also going to Vicky Vale saying, why haven't you said anything about Bard? I'm trying to tell you all the information of what's actually going on in Gotham. It's not these big villains that are the threat, it's the smaller villains like Cluemaster and, you know, whoever else. So that's what I enjoyed about the issues, that finally we're getting some information out of Spoiler. She's spoiling us. But yeah, so I enjoyed that they are able to split up a lot of the characters here, but it felt organic enough. It didn't feel like, oh, 2 pages of Batgirl, oh, 2 pages of, you know, Penny 2. It felt pretty organic. Good story. Batman Eternal issue 48 gets 3.5 stars for me. Alright, moving on to number 8, which is The Big Con Job, issue 1. I had fun with this issue. It's a comedy book. I don't know if I have room for a comedy book on my pull list, so I don't know if I'll get the next issue. But I thought this was a really good issue. It has some darker tones, but obviously it's still a comedy, and it's about these washed up stars that go to the convention circuit making no money, and they decide by the end of the issue, I won't spoil how they decided, but they decide they want to steal from San Diego Comic-Con. And I thought that was fun. If you like the convention scene, you want to see some insight on the convention scene, this book does that for you. And it does it in a fun way. Like I said, there are some darker tones to the book, but it's overall a comedy book. And it is a miniseries, which I think is great. I wouldn't want to read this for ongoing, but I think it fits as a miniseries. And I had fun with it. I had a fun time with the issue. Again, I don't know if it grabs me to get the next issue, because it wasn't really a big cliffhanger that you don't expect from the title. Like, you understood that they're gonna probably do a con job, they're probably gonna steal things from a convention. Like, you kind of got that from the cover, but I still might be interested. I want to see where this goes. If it's a light week, I'm gonna get the second issue. I might have some room for a comedy book. But if you have room, I definitely recommend it. It was a fun book. Alright, moving on to number 7. Which is, once again, one of them falls. Okay. Number 7. Why is Green Arrow there? Sorry, I might have to move something. Alright, anyways, number 7 is Flash Season 0, Issue 6. Had a fun time with this book. I would say Flash Season 0 is a lot better than the regular Flash series. So if you want to read a Flash series and to fill that void, I kind of recommend Flash Season 0. It's very fun. There's a lot of great one-liners here throughout the issue. We get to see Flash swimming really fast. You know, you're learning a bit more about his powers. Yeah, this is a Villain of the Week issue. I do like the Felicity issue a bit better. Did like that issue a bit better, but I still had a fun time here. Good chemistry between characters like you see in the show. So if you like the TV show, I think you should pick this up. If you have a void for Flash, I think you should pick this up. And that's why I'm kind of getting this. I do feel a void because I loved Flash when Matapool and Buccellato was on it. Now with Vendetti, there's a lot of problems with the book. I mean, I'm still sticking with it because, like, what? There's one more issue until Convergence. But yeah, I don't know where that's going as much. Yeah, Flash Season 0 I do recommend. And art's a bit blocky, but I think it does fit for the series. So overall, I'm going to give Flash Season 0, yes, it's a bit of filler, yes, it's a bit of Villain of the Week, but it's still a fun series. So, issue 6, that's number 7, I gave it 3.5 stars. Alright, moving on to number 6 is All New Hawkeye, issue 1. It didn't make top 5, it didn't. I think really why it didn't make top 5, the delay is obviously a big aspect of this. You know, I don't think it's right that Lemire's issue came out when Fraction did not finish his run yet. I don't like that idea because you don't know what happened in the end of that issue, and it feels like there's that gap, and it's not, obviously it's not Lemire's fault, it kind of is Fraction's fault, and I hope we get that issue soon, but it feels really weird. I hate delays, obviously. This issue is pretty good. I liked it. There's some things I feel like this is more of a trade read though. Like the background, the flashback we get to see with Clint and his brother. His brother just died in the last issue of Fraction's run, which is not the last issue of his actual run, but the last issue that came out. So that happened, and it was like, oh, they're showing their past, showing a bit more about Clint. But I'm like, I kind of already know about Clint. We saw that in Fractions run, so why do I need to know more about Clint? I think if it was at least Kate's background, it'd feel a bit better, because, yeah, we do know a lot about Kate, but it's never been really explored in the Hawkeye series, so, or even if they did both their background, like this issue could be Clint and maybe next issue could be Kate's background, I think that would have been interesting, but yeah, I don't really know how this flashback coincides with the series. And also the main story didn't get me so excited, but what really got me excited about the book and why it's higher is that I love the chemistry. I love the chemistry between Kate and Clint. There's so many great one-liners between them, and it feels like Fractions run in that way. And the artwork was really good. I loved how they meshed the flashback with artwork-wise, with the present time. Present time actually remind me a lot of Aja's work. So overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters here, but I do think the story structure needed a bit work, but maybe because this is more of a trade read than a first issue or issue-by-issue read. I don't know, but I'm going to give it more time, and I'm obviously going to pick up the next issue. But overall, all new Hawkeye gets 3.5 stars. Alright, moving on to number 5, which is Spider-Woman, issue 5. Yes, Spider-Woman. Yeah, I enjoyed this issue. It's really solid. I had a fun time with it, and I think this is a great direction for Jessica. I like that. I like that she's doing more of the civilian work, but she sucks at it. Even Ben's like, yeah, like, I understand you're doing this, but you're really not good. She ends up in jail. It's fun. It's a fun series, and I think this is a great direction for Jessica that we've never seen before. I kind of wish we got to see a little bit more of Jessica's personal life. That's something that was promised in issue 4, and we really didn't get in issue 5. But I am very curious to see Ben's mystery be solved by Jessica, which is that these villains' families are being kidnapped. I think that's an interesting story that I'm intrigued to see how Spider-Woman will solve, especially since she has this stuff against supervillains as a hero, of course. Artwork was great for this issue too, but overall, very, very solid issue, and it makes me very excited for the next issue of Spider-Woman and seeing where the series goes. I think it's a great new direction. Alright, so that was number 5. Moving on to number... Why is this all mixed up? Okay, moving on to number 4, which is Lady Killer, issue 3. If you haven't been reading this series, it's really good. It's the 50s, and this suburban mom is an assassin. And one problem I had with the first issue of Lady Killer is like, oh, I really like the story, I like how unique this is, but I didn't really feel that we felt a connection to the main character. I thought she was very cold. And with this issue, I feel like they totally fixed that, because one of our main character's goal, one of her last missions, which she doesn't even know is her last mission, is to kill a child. And she's ready to do it, but she's like, I can't kill him. He's a kid. So she pretends that he ran away, and then obviously she disobeys her company, and the company already wants to take her out and not make her part of their company anymore, because they feel like she'd rebel, which she kind of did in this issue. We're definitely getting a lot more emotions here. Loved how she reacts to the whole mission and how she runs out, and she just feels very conflicted. She's like, that was my job. Why didn't I do it? But at the same time, how can I not do that, you know? That's a child. So I really like the contradiction, and I like that we're finally learning more about the character. Really enjoyed the issue. Very solid, and I really can't wait to see where the series goes. So overall, Lady Killer issue 3 gets 4 stars. It's upsetting. It's only a miniseries. I would really follow this as an ongoing. Alright, moving on to number 3, which is Revival, issue 28. I love Revival. It's been always in my top 5 because it's such a good series. And with this issue, we get to see that M's boyfriend, who was married, he's kind of dead, kind of not dead, and she's learning a little bit about why he's different from the Revivers, and if he will die, and he does end up dying, and obviously she's very upset. This is her first love, and we're learning a little bit more of the mythology of revivals, which I'm very excited about. And the other story is with Dana. She doesn't really say much, even though she's our main character. And she's just trapped. She's trapped by that old guy who's like, oh, well, this is my story. I'm running the show. So I'm intrigued by the old guy and seeing exactly what place he takes here. And Dana and M's father, you know, kind of being in between all this. Hopefully he ends up finding out about M. That's something I hope happens very soon. But what I loved about this issue is, I would say the religious undertones. You know, there's even a quote from Revelations, and, you know, the question of, are revivals kind of human? Are they devils? Are they evil? What's going on with this? Is M evil? And that's kind of hard for us as readers to take on, because M's our main character. You don't really want her to be evil, but she might be, you know, the way she acts. It's kind of like the vampire story, going to Graveyard Ship that was out last week. It's like that story where it's like, oh, vampires are always known to be evil, but you don't want your main character to be evil. You want to say, oh, well, this person's an exception. And you kind of hope that for M, but like every issue that comes out, there's just more of like, revival at nature are evil, they're crazy, they're corrupt, and that's what I enjoy about this story. And it still has this family aspect of Dana, her father, and the police here. Artwork is beautiful here too. Let's look at the artwork here. Awesome artwork. Again, great undertones and great series. So overall, I gave Revival issue 28 4 stars. Alright, moving on to number 2. Let me just say that number 2 and number 1 was such a such a hard choice for me. I love both issues, but I was like, oh, I have to weigh it, which one's better? So, number 2, still loved this issue. Green Arrow, issue 40. I would say the reason it didn't make number 1, just gonna say that now, is because I do think they rushed the story a bit because of Convergence. Definitely felt a bit rushed by the end, and you want to know what happens next, but you don't know if the story is going to continue after Convergence, so it's not much of an end. It's definitely more of like, oh, here's this kind of somber ending to a story arc, not a series, and that scares me, because I want to see more of this series continue. So moving on, what I loved about this issue, obviously seeing everyone team up was great. Seeing Felicity and Dig be part of the team. I thought Felicity felt more like Felicity in this issue, less of the one-liners and more personality, which has been something I felt was a negative to the Green Arrow series. And also Mia. Mia was awesome here. Reminds me so much of Thea too, so just showing that the writers obviously are thinking about Mia when they're writing Thea. Which I always thought was obvious, but some people don't think that, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, Mia was great here. I really enjoyed, even though she didn't have a lot of pages, I like that she thinks that she's on her father's team, and she's like, she shoots Green Arrow, and she says, oh, he was wearing Kelvar, and then Green Arrow shoots King and shoots Mia's father. Mia's obviously okay with that. And then Mia's going to become Oliver's ward, and it goes in a direction where you know it would continue in a way that the pre-New 52 story continued, where Mia did not become Speedy right away, and especially when she had her HIV, Oliver's like, no, you should not go in, you should not be Speedy. So I feel like they would have went that direction if they continued, especially this creative team. It's a shame. It's a shame that the creative team's leaving and you don't really know what direction it's going in, but I thought this was a very good ending. Again, a little bit rushed, but I overall love the action, love the story. Green Arrow issue 40 for me gets 4.5 stars. Alright, moving on to number 1. What was my pick of the week? What beat out Green Arrow? Star Wars Princess Leia. Surprisingly, and you guys are gonna be like, what? Kat, you're not even a Star Wars fan. I'm not, and that's why this issue impressed me so much, because it made me question about the Star Wars franchise. I was like, how, I know that Princess Leia is Darth Vader's daughter, how about will you actually see them interact? Like, I know that's not gonna happen in this series, because it's not at that point in the movies, but like, how about if there was a series where they actually did interact? How about if Princess Leia did get the Force? Like, there's so many interesting questions I was getting in my mind, and I felt this was so much more new reader friendly. Of course, you need some background on Star Wars, and if you're just in pop culture at all, you know the background you need to know. I've not seen all the movies, and I totally understood this book, and it made me excited about this book. I like that Princess Leia, everyone's just like, no, you have to go in the corner and cry. That's your job as a rebel, or as your job as a rebel and a princess. But she's like, no, I want to go into action. And then even her disciples, the people that are actually pilots of the rebels, don't really like her. They just like, she's Ice Princess. She doesn't even know how to mourn correctly. And Leia is one person that totally agrees of her being an Ice Princess, is one girl pilot. And she's like, oh, I totally honor your mother, but I kind of don't honor you. And Leia's like, I'm glad you told me the truth. Let's work together. Tell me the truth. Stop treating me as royalty, and that's it. Treat me as a person. And I really enjoyed their interaction. Leia's just going into action. She's disobeying everything, and she's like, I'm going to be a rebel, what I signed up for. And she's teaming up with this girl who didn't actually even like her that much. And I really like their chemistry in this issue and their friendship. And artwork was great for the issue. Again, it surprised me, and you don't need to know much about Star Wars, I think, to get into this issue. It was very new reader friendly, and I enjoyed Princess Leia as a character, and I'll definitely be getting issue 2. Mark Waid did a great job. So that was my pick of the week. Let me know in the comments below what was your pick of the week. What was your worst pick of the week, and everything in between. Of course, I'll have Comic Uno episode 89 next week. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, in the description below, there are links for my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.